Sally Challoner reporting there. Now, walking in forests is good for us. That may seem a very obvious statement, but a report released today confirms it and says 2 or 3 visits a week can dramatically improve mental health. For 2 years, the European health and wellbeing experts, Forest Europe, have been reviewing evidence on the benefits of spending time in the woods. Well, you may have heard the new BBC podcast called Forest 404. It includes soundscapes, talks and a drama set in the 24th century, where there are no forests, and a young woman comes across a recording with strange sounds on it, the sounds of the woods.
So when she finds an old recording from the 21st century of a rainforest, she has no idea what it is.
Sumatra. Orangutans, whistling thrush, cicadas.
Because forests...
Flies buzz them up.
Well, Alex Smalley is a PhD student at the University of Exeter who's involved with Forest 404 and researches into the effects of real and virtual experiences of nature.
We have this really large body of evidence that's been generated over the last 30 to 40 years, really, that shows that spending time in natural environments is good for our health and well-being. That this can have real sort of demonstrable benefits on people's physiological stress. So we see these decreases in the stress hormone cortisol, in blood pressure and in pulse, all when people spend time in natural environments.
Does it have to be a forest? Could it be a heathland or even just a park in a city?
Investigations have been conducted on all sorts of different natural environments, and we see very similar effects across all of them. And what's really interesting from my perspective as a researcher is that we also see these kind of effects when we move away from the real world. And so much of this work has been conducted in the laboratory, and there we're using actually fairly crude replications of nature in the form of images, photos and videos, and we still see some of the same effects that people tend to feel restored and more able to deal with complex tasks. They're happier when they've been viewing scenes of nature.
Now, this research out today says 2 or 3 visits a week can dramatically improve mental health. So what is it in city and town life that is so bad for us?
Well, we're constantly switched on. We're in this state of alert when we're in cities. They're busy places. They force us to concentrate, to direct attention at elements that we have to look out for, like buses, people. We think that, being able to spend time in nature could offer a potential antidote to some of the stresses that we see in city environments. But getting people into those kind of places and spaces when they need them the most isn't easy.
Well, also, it can be expensive, can't it? Both in terms of providing the access and in terms of physically getting people there.
It's true that we can't access some of these spaces when we might feel like we're in our most stressed out, but that's where our research comes in. We're trying to find out if we can almost bottle some of the effects of being in nature and bring it to people when they need it the most.
How on earth would that work?
So we're thinking about using virtual reality to bring these experiences of nature to people. We're starting with sound. So much of the research that I just mentioned has focused on the visual sense. It's focused on how people respond to viewing scenes of nature. And actually, we know so much less about how people respond to listening to nature, to the soundscapes that surround us. And that really is where the Forest 404 experiment comes in.
Alex Smalley, and you can get involved in the Forest 404 experiment. Just head to bbc.co.uk/forest. That's it from us. I'm Charlotte Smith, the producer.